Okay.
Whenever you're ready, Elliott, please.
This is everybody?
Yeah.
Give me some those. Sure. Thank you. Is it playing? Maybe is it playing right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, hey guys, I'm Elliott. So, I mean, the question's been on the board, so in you guys' opinion, what do you think is the best healthcare system in the world? If anybody wants to answer that.
Sweden.
Sweden? Does no one have a guess?
The U.S.
Okay. All right. Okay, so my project is on Sweden and America. I looked at and compared the two healthcare systems of these countries, a socialist and a capitalist system. Well, this is my inspiration too. I've always been interested in it. I volunteered at Avant. I was diagnosed with a heart arrhythmia at a young age, so I've been in and out of the hospital, and then I'm going to college, pre-med. All right, so in the most recent election, healthcare was a huge topic this year. I mean, all the different candidates had different opinions. Namely Bernie Sanders, who wanted a socialist system like much of Scandinavia uses. But why Sweden? Well, Charlie shouted it. Most people know it. It's thrown around the most, like what happened last night in Sweden. I guess we all know that from Donald Trump. But I guess people are more aware of what Sweden is, but also that their system was more genuine socialist, because other countries like Denmark and Iceland weren't a real socialist system. They all vary. All right, so a little background. So back in the Industrial Revolution during America in the 1800s, we got some big factories with some big machines, which caused a lot of big boo-boos. So if you got your leg chopped off by a sewing machine, you wouldn't be too happy. And so that's what happened. With all the worker strikes, they also opted for some form of health care because that was non-existent here. We had hospitals, but it was very pricey to be treated. And so we got private health insurance. It was provided by the employer during the Industrial Revolution, and it's kind of stayed the same way. So you work for a company, they provide health insurance. Sweden's a lot more simple. Going up, when Sweden was founded all the way up until now, the government ran hospitals. The towns helped funded and provided for the people who live there. However, in the 1940s, a National Health Insurance Act was passed, giving the government full control of their entire health system. So the government just controls everything, so much so that by the 1960s, at least 80% of surgeons and doctors operated within a government-run facility in Sweden. So this is our healthcare system now, and how it works. We, through your employer, or you're still required either way to have some sort of health insurance through a private company. However, the government does operate a little bit. We passed the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, so that helped get health insurance to those unemployed or couldn't afford the monthly fees that are required to pay for health insurance. There's a lot of negative stuff thrown around, but it did lower health costs by 10 to 21%. This is Sweden, in a nutshell. Sweden has a 60% income tax for healthcare on all the people. However, only 9% of the government budget goes into healthcare. So, on top of that, people have 3-month wait times. There's a waiting list for health systems. It's not like America where you can just walk up and pay money and get treated immediately. In Sweden, you have to get put on a list based on the severity of the issue. So much so that by 2003, at least more than 50% of the population had to wait 3 months or longer to be treated for anything. That wasn't life-threatening. I'll let that speak for itself. Hearing Sweden in the media, you guys think, oh, it's completely free, you do have to pay some taxes, but the Swedish do pay medical fees, much like we do. However, for us, it's unlimited. You go in for as many ambulance rides, you have to pay. as much as they're costing you. Sweden has a $1,500 yearly cap on that. So you would go in, you still have to pay the same medical fees that we would, but there's a cap at $1,500. Once you reach that limit, you don't have to pay any more medical fees through the rest of the year. And then it resets every year, and that's per person. And so with the government funding, with our private companies comes things like the CDC, or we get Johnson & Johnson or Medtronic, all these different medical companies in America. Sweden doesn't really have this. They simply just have hospitals and clinics. They don't have any private companies, any research labs other than their med schools, because everything's government run and they don't invest too much like we do. So this was the CDC, or is the CDC, and as you guys know, they provide all the vaccines basically for the rest of the world. They control and monitor the health of the world. But what really matters is in the operating room when you're under the knife. So which country is doing better? Well, it really depends. With America, private practice and private organizations really, there's a bit more flexibility based on the person. So the surgeon doesn't really have to follow a set protocol. They can customize it per the patient. Sweden, however, because it's government run, because there's waiting lists and whatnot, the surgeons have to follow a set protocol in the operating room, how treatment is carried out and how the procedures are done. And it really depends on the person, which is better for what. But both surgeons for the different countries are very skilled. It's about the same amount of schooling for both countries. So in terms of skill, they're kind of equal, but in terms of what you can do, America is a bit more flexible on that. But also for being treated, you got to look at the population and ethnicity of people. America has 321.4 million people. I don't know what the 0.4 is. Or, never mind. And the population, I was like 0.4 per person, but 4,000. And Sweden's 9.7 million. So there's a significant difference in terms of population size. So the main argument was Bernie Sanders wanted to bring in a socialist system in America. Sweden has a 3-month-long waiting list. They have 9.7 million people. We get a socialist system. We have 321 million people. That waiting list is going to get a whole lot longer. On top of the fact that Sweden's, the majority of their ethnicity is white. So in terms of that, they have a similar gene pool for all the people there. So they see the same kind of sicknesses, illnesses, and cancers generally that comes with one set ethnicity. America, on the other hand, we're a melting pot of diversity, so we get a much broader list of complications and diseases than Sweden does on average. So, capitalism and socialism, both have their fans, both think the other is awful, depending if you're hard right or hard left. But really it's like comparing a minivan and a truck. They're both Toyota, they're both red, okay. But if you have a family, you're probably going to pick the minivan. If you have a farm, you're probably going to pick the truck. And so they serve their unique purposes. Us, our system's capitalist, so that's a unique purpose. Them, there's socialist, so that's a unique purpose. If you tried to switch the two, say we got a capitalist system, or we got a socialist system and they got a capitalist system, that's like trying to say the minivans for hauling stuff and working on the farm, and the pickup trucks for taking the family to school and soccer practices. It just doesn't work. No country is really better than the other. No healthcare system is better than the other. It just matters with what you have. If you have a big population like us and a really diverse group, capitalism is really the way to go. We should improve upon it, but trying to drastically change it and looking at, oh, like what Sweden's doing well. But that works for them. So in the end, no healthcare system goes above the other. It's personal preference or what the country needs, but in the end, each one's custom fit for their country. So switching them just really wouldn't work. And so that's my presentation for you guys. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Hope I explained it all right.
Yeah.